guys, welcome to Raw Adventure. I am Chané and today I will be sharing some wildlife photography tips for beginners. Okay, so tip number 1 is shooting in RAW. So a camera has a few format settings. There's JPEG and there's RAW, and you can combine them as well. But shooting in just RAW is fine because it'll take less space than JPEG and RAW. And the reason for shooting in RAW is there's a deeper quality to your photo versus JPEG. So when post-processing your images, there's a lot more detail, and if you bump up your shadows and stuff, then there'll be a lot more detail to your photos, whereas shooting in JPEG, there's not as much depth of quality to your photos. So shooting in RAW it takes much more space than JPEG alone, but ultimately it'll be a better photo and a better quality. Okay, so tip number 2 is shooting in shutter speed priority. So that's TV on your little dial on top of your camera, and that will enable you to choose your shutter speed setting. So if you want to have a very high shutter speed when you're filming a chase scene or something, then that'll be ideal because the camera will automatically set the other settings for you, so you do not have to focus on setting your aperture or your ISO. So you can just focus on your shutter speed and the scene in front of you. Then tip number 3, using a beanbag. A beanbag is very handy. You just pop up your window a bit and just put it over your window, and this will help when you have low light conditions, like maybe very early in the day or very late in the day when the sun is setting, or in shadowy conditions. So you have to have a lower shutter speed, and this will just help with the stability and general stability in all light settings. And now tip number 4, shooting in continuous mode with AFC priority enabled, which is continuous autofocus. This means that your camera will be taking a bunch of photos, as well as the focus staying on subject as it may walk nearer to you or further away from you. So this will enable you to capture a bunch of shots continuously with a leopard walking towards you, and it will remain in focus, and you will have a bunch of shots without having to focus and press down for each shot. So this will depend on your camera, how many shots is taken and in which time intervals, and this will also depend on which memory card you have. So when memory card shopping, do watch out for the megabits per second writing speed. So a higher writing speed will enable your camera to take faster photos because it will write the photos faster to your memory card, whereas a slower one, it will be slower. So ideally a higher number. Okay. Tip number 5, lenses. Lenses are the most fun and most important part of wildlife photography. So I mainly use this lens. It's 150 to 500mm. Ideally you want the lens with the most zoom for birding and just generally getting close to your subjects, which you can't always get too close to. But any lens will do. It depends on what story you want to tell. Do you want just your subject in the entire picture? Do you want your subject with the environment? It all depends on what you want to do. So you do not need this lens. You do not need a large lens. You just need a lens that will tell the story that you want to tell. And then just a few extra tips for wildlife photography is having a second camera on hand is fairly handy, especially when you do have different lenses, a large lens, maybe a smaller lens for your environmental shots, telling your stories. So two cameras can be handy, but it's not necessary. It all depends on how eager you are to change lenses or what the story it is you want to tell. And then be patient. It's all about patience. Sitting a few hours at a hide or a dam or a certain scene, like there's a leopard in a tree. Be patient and just wait and fiddle about with your settings and make sure everything is correct for when that leopard comes out of the tree or you see the bird. Just be patient and be ready. Okay, so there are the 5 most important tips for beginners for wildlife photography. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and do go test them out and see how they work for you and tweak them a bit. But yeah, that's all for today. Thank you, and please like, share and subscribe. Bye guys.